Good morning. I have been MIA. I got my hormone test results last week, which I was really excited to sit down and chat about. I've kind of been like trying to figure out exactly how to explain them. I feel like with every bit of testing you do, you kind of come out with more questions. But it definitely revealed some big things that I'm like, okay, this is what we need to work on and see what that does. But then I got hit with a cold and I had no voice for 2 days, and then you can still hear it in my voice and my chest. So that's been fun. But yeah, it just doesn't really overly make me want to sit here and chat and make you listen to that. So that's where I've been. But I will do a good sit down and explain things, possibly added into this video. I have some clips in here of me making a cheesecake for my husband's birthday last week. It was so yummy. And I had to like laugh. Sorry, child interruption. Anyway, I made this cheesecake from I even made the graham crackers and crumbled them for the crust, and wow. Okay, we're back. Sorry, had to homeschool my kids and do a little bit of cleaning. Anyway, maybe I might actually have the time now to chat a little bit about what my hormone test revealed. I know I was telling you about my cheesecake before. This is mom life, right? Like, you do what you can when you have a minute and it's all a little scatterbrained. So on with the cheesecake for a second. It was so yummy, and I did like I said, I did the graham crackers from scratch. Obviously cheesecake is not like an everyday food in our house, but I love to bake, and so when I do, I like to do it like the real thing. I'm not really much of a fake baker. Like, you won't catch me doing protein powder muffins or cakes or anything like that. Like, yuck. I just would rather have the real thing once in a while. So anyway, you know those Instagram pages? There's one for sure that she has so many followers, but she talks in the really monotone voice and really sarcastic. Like, we were out of hot dogs, and so I got off a 14-hour flight and I started making homemade hot dogs. So that's how I felt when I was making my homemade graham crackers. But they were so good, and I added lots of spices to them, so they weren't just plain. They had cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice and all that in them. And then I made homemade strawberry topping, so it was just really yummy whipped strawberry cheesecake. My husband normally likes cherry cheesecake. I would have made the cherry topping myself as well, but there was no cherries at Costco, no frozen cherries. So I did strawberries, and I loved it more than cherries even. But yeah, so I'll insert that footage of just me baking that. But that's what was going on. It was a birthday, and yeah, we have 2 birthdays. We have my birthday and my husband's birthday in November, and so November can be an interesting month for food. There's a lot more treats usually. I said this to my husband, I'm like, I find birthday month harder to eat super clean than Christmas even, for some reason. Christmas is I don't know. Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, those are days that I really want to enjoy all the things. But I don't find that whole season leading up to it needs to be crazy. But for some reason my birthday week hits, and I'm like, that's my birthday week. Oh, it's my birthday month. And it just spirals, and then you go out for supper with a few different people to celebrate. And I don't know, for some reason birthdays are harder to me, and so November's usually more of a treat month than even December. But all that to say, let's talk about hormones. Also, I'm sorry, I'm a hand talker, and I can't get away from it. I would have to sit on my hands, and I'm not even sure my words would continue working if I can't move my hand around. So you're just gonna have to be okay with that. Okay. I was not expecting what my hormone test told me. I expected low progesterone. I had been told in the past through a hair mineral analysis that my progesterone was low. But in all fairness, I was also told that it could be just the ratio of estrogen to progesterone and whatnot. The ratios of hormones it's kind of confusing because you can have symptoms of, say, high testosterone, like you can have high androgen symptoms because another hormone, whether it's estrogen or progesterone, is low. Or you could have high estrogen symptoms because progesterone is low in comparison to where your estrogen is sitting. So your body thinks you have more estrogen, if that makes sense. So I am not an expert on this. I am learning as I go. I've listened to a million podcasts. I have like a decent grasp on it, I feel like, but like I'm not going to do a deep breakdown. But the main thing I learned is my estrogen is low. And I would have never thought, because I feel like we're all walking around assuming we need to clear estrogen from our bodies in today's day and age, because we're like coming into contact with all these xenoestrogens and different things that, we're told we need to focus on getting estrogen out of us. So mine's low, which explains a lot of my symptoms, but it was still like surprising to me. And the question is like, how do I raise it? Why is it low? Like these tests always just lead to more questions, which is life, right? Like we learn as we go. The more we know, the more we can understand what other types of testing get done, like what to do as far as supplements and nutrition and all that. And so one big thing with nutrition that right away, my health practitioner was like, be really careful of cruciferous vegetables because they help clear estrogen from your body. And I eat a ton of over the last few years, I do a lot of broccoli, a lot of cauliflower. I enjoy them and they're easy to get in. I love doing cauliflower rice, kind of like gives you that stir fry feel. So yeah, and then cabbage I really like stir fried as well. It feels like so many vegetables get eliminated when you're thinking like, don't clear too much estrogen from your body. So obviously she's not saying like, don't ever eat those things, but she's just saying, be mindful, don't make them like your all day, everyday choices. So I've really, it was just kind of shocking to me that estrogen was the thing I was low on. And yet when I started reading the symptoms, I was like, oh, okay. So my progesterone was in normal range. My testosterone was in normal range. Like those all looked good. But for some reason, my body's struggling with creating estrogen. So that was kind of the biggest, like, hey, this is what we need to correct hormone-wise. There was also some stuff with like DHEA and whatnot, potentially low there. It was suggested I get my thyroid checked, which I got blood work for that this week, but I won't have an appointment to discuss it with my health practitioner for another couple weeks probably. I read the tests. I don't really understand how to say what's going on thyroid-wise, so I'm not even going to speculate right now. But yeah, there's a few supplements that she recommended I get on. One is maca. It's supposed to be a good like hormone balancing. I think it's a root. And she suggested one specific supplement from the States. I think it's called Feminescence. So I ordered that. It's going to take a bit to get here. Hopefully not too long, but in the meantime, I just picked up a regular like maca supplement, keeping my magnesium going. What else? Adrenals. I am on like an adrenal support supplement right now. It does seem like for some reason I have some high cortisol going on. And mostly at night was what this test picked up, was that my cortisol was high at night while I was sleeping, which is interesting. So we're kind of trying to figure out why that might be, whether it's like I need to reduce blue light exposure at night and create kind of a new nighttime routine. My husband and I will admittedly say we are the people to like sit and watch a show before bed and then go directly to bed and not really take a break from the TV to sleep. So I do know that's a problem. It's a really hard habit to break because it's like our only time to do that. So I don't know if I need to just get blue light blocker glasses and that will kind of help. We tried starting the routine of like at 9 o'clock, turning the show off and going out to the living room and having tea. But that's, I don't know. It's a little bit hard to convince ourselves to do every night. So whether that's just a discipline thing we need to do, because sometimes I'm like, but we don't start the show till 8. It's like one episode. But, obviously if it's going to make a big difference health-wise, then that may be something lifestyle-wise that I could change. We can't get DHEA supplements up here in Canada, which is dumb, but because she had suggested maybe using one of those. I could order to the border and pick up from there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet, if I'll go that extra step. But for now, basically we want to support the adrenals. I'm taking elements, so I'm always getting enough like electrolytes, potassium, magnesium. What else? Oh, I have a liver detox supplement right now, so I'm taking that. And Camu vitamin C. So those are all the supplements that I'm on currently, waiting for the Feminescence, but taking the maca still in another form. And I feel good at the moment. I've only been on them for a week, so I feel like it's gonna take probably, my hand is not very steady at the moment. I feel like it's probably gonna take a month for some of these things to be noticed, but that's where we're at right now. I feel like that's like the simplest way I can explain one cool thing and one good thing about estrogen in general in my body is the Dutch test actually maps out like what pathway it's using to detox or like move estrogen out of your body. So there's 3 pathways from what I understand. There is the 2-OH, 4-OH, and 16-OH. And if you are using the 4-OH pathway like a ton, so there's like a pie chart that they show you. If you're heavily relying on that 4-OH, it actually shows that you are at a higher risk for like breast cancers and like estrogen related cancers. So that was quite low for me. And I'm like mostly green and using the 2-OH pathway and a little bit of the 16-OH pathway. So that was exciting. Like that was kind of a nice thing to see and know that I'm not having to stress too much about those types of things. So that's kind of cool. I feel like this is, as I chat more health-wise as we go on, because I will keep updating you on kind of what I'm doing and why. I was a little bit low on norepinephrine. She mentioned maybe taking some amino acids for that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is I have some answers. And we're just going to work from here. It's possible that I'm having high androgen symptoms, acne included, because my estrogen's so low. So even though my testosterone is in a good range, my body might kind of see it as being high and react that way and kind of give some of those symptoms simply because my estrogen's so low. So I'm very curious if I can get my estrogen to increase, preferably without hormone therapy. I would investigate into that and I would go that route if nothing is working to get my estrogen up. Because with low estrogen, some of the things you're at risk for too are like bone density issues and like heading towards osteoporosis, as well as cardiac issues. And so those are obviously not things that we want to deal with. So we'll probably monitor and see how I feel. Like if I'm noticing obvious improvements, then I don't know how quickly I would redo a Dutch test. Like they're not cheap, they take a long time. So I could see myself maybe redoing one at a year or so and go from there. But for whatever reason, my skin right now is kind of going through a clearer patch. I know you can, I'll give you an up close. My skin, my chin area is mostly where I end up with like a lot of the breakouts. So there's always like scarring. I don't have super crazy heavy makeup on. So there's scarring and texture. I don't have any new huge flare-ups right now. The frustrating thing is I tend to go through these where I'm like, okay, something's working and things are clearing, and now I'll actually have time to work on the scarring and see that improve. And then it's like, bam, another breakout will hit me. So I always kind of hold my breath. I don't really know the reason it's clear right now. But I'll take it for as long as it will be this way. Nutrition-wise, I have moved back to, I know I had talked about kind of my frustration with like, well, I didn't feel that much better off of grains and whatnot. But at the end of the day, some of my markers are indicating there's inflammation somewhere in my body. And so it just seems like the most logical thing to kind of keep out of my diet for now. So yeah, I've kind of gone back to that like animal-based meat, fruit, certain vegetables, but like with cruciferous vegetables being taken out, I'm quite limited. So I'm doing squash, I'm doing lots of apples, certain fruits. I do have thought in the past, I still do think I have some oxalate sensitivity. And so I don't really do a lot of like dates. I did at one point, love them. I used to put them on my oatmeal every morning. What else? Beets. I'm not doing beets because they're high oxalate. So I'm kind of sticking to like, yeah, winter squashes, and I'm not doing a ton of potatoes because those are also kind of questionable on the oxalate side of things. So I'm definitely having moments of just feeling like, ugh, what's left? Like, it's so boring. But I think what I need to do, being that I love being in the kitchen, I love a good meal, like I just can't do super boring all the time. I actually am just gonna start looking for recipes that are grain-free and like AIP friendly and maybe GAPS friendly, and like just as many things as possible. I don't do well with nuts. Like I don't do almonds. So a lot of the like paleo grain-free recipes don't work for me. I need it to be like coconut flour based. So I did find a pizza crust recipe that I did yesterday for lunch, and it was so yummy and really fast and easy. And it was like arrowroot powder, shoot, there was one other starch. I can't remember what that other one is. And coconut flour and butter and water, and it was so good. Like, I loved it. It was quick and easy. You roll it out between 2 parchment papers, then you put your pizza toppings on. So that kind of lifted my spirits a little bit because I felt like, okay, well, there's something that I can still kind of have that like comfort food feeling and not feel like I'm totally missing out on things. Because I've always been a moderator. I've always been like, eat super clean, but have the treat once in a while. And so for me, I have to find those recipes that kind of give me that feeling of not feeling almost claustrophobic within my realm of foods I can eat. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah, I seem to get frequent colds. And so that's been something where I'm like, okay, feels like something's impacting my immune health and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping like the grain-free and just working on lowering inflammation is hopefully going to be really helpful. So that's where I'm at right now, but thought I'd update you on all of that. Now onto the part of the vlog where we have some fun in the kitchen with my cheesecake. This was me starting my graham crackers. I didn't stress about making perfect squares. I just needed to be able to break them up and grind them up after. If I was making these as like cute crackers, I would have put a lot more care and attention into like nice edges and probably measured to have even squares, but not the purpose for today. They turned out so good though that this makes me want to make pretty little squares of graham crackers and like dip them in chocolate and sprinkle candy cane or something on them to make them fun and festive for like Christmas goodie boxes and stuff. So we'll see if I get to that this season, but it definitely made me have the itch to do it.